Good morning. Please find your seats and prepare for this morning's service. Before we get started, I have a brief important announcement from JP Flood. JP?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I just, as the personnel chair, I just wanted to share some news. And our distinguished church administrator is indeed retiring. And it'll be effective the end of this month. And the good news is, she said, just make sure you tell them that I love the congregation and I love the people. I'm just in need of change. And so many of us love her as a friend, as a sister, and as somebody who's just helped us tremendously over the last decade for sure. So Andrea Dudek, if you see her, give her a big hug. She'll help us in transitioning to a new person. But with that, please give her a hug and love when you can. Thank you.
Thanks, JP. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. Our minister is the Reverend Stephen Robinson. My name is Linda Brennison, and I'm your service leader of the day. To those of you here with us in the sanctuary, please be advised that this service is being streamed on YouTube. To those of you watching the stream service, we're glad to have you watching, but would of course rather have you here with us in person. Please make sure you read the announcements in your printed order of service. Also, be sure to read the weekly events that are emailed to you each Thursday, as well as the Unigram and the website, so that should keep you busy. I urge you to keep your website, open as a tab on your internet browser so you can keep up with what's happening. Here's an announcement for parents. I see one or two children. If you need to occupy your young folks, we do have toys and books in the very back of the social hall. And now, please silence all of your electronic devices as we center ourselves for today's service and listen to the prelude.
To talk about today's prelude, it's by Joel Collier, who is a music professor over at Allen University. He's a friend, and he's also my music director with the South Carolina Brass Band. And we're going to make a little plug. We have our Christmas concert coming up Thursday night at Pelion High School. Quite a trip, but it might be worth it. But at any rate, here's today's prelude. We're as good as we're going to get.
Wow, just lovely. Thank you, Anna Hamilton and David Roof. Thank you so much. Now, would you please join me in the congregational affirmation as found in your order of service? Love is a doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others' community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we side with love, embracing all people regardless of age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or religious background. We have been officially designated by the Unitarian Universalist Association, the UUA, as a welcoming congregation that welcomes LGBTQ+ individuals. We especially invite families and young children. We even have a nursery. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so that we may know each other better. Board members wear green name tags, and they always welcome your comments, questions, and suggestions. Would the members of our Board of Trustees please stand now so that you may be recognized? Thank you. At this time, we would like to recognize any guests or visitors who are with us today. And Emilio will come by with a microphone. So visitors, if you are willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you are from. Or if you have guests with you, please feel free to introduce them and wait for the microphone.
Hi, my name's Annie Smith. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I moved here in 2020, and this is my first time visiting a Universalist church.
Oh, welcome.
Hi, I'm Jackie Ray. I'm here with my friend Laura. It's my second visit, so I guess y'all didn't scare me off.
Hi, I'm April Mayfield. This is my daughter Dahlia and our friend Fred. We are in the Columbia area and we are looking for a new place to worship on Sunday. And this is our first time.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Liz Eigelhart. I'm with Transitions Homeless Center, so I will be talking in a few minutes. But with me today are my two teammates, Michelle Patey, who's a recent transfer from Chattanooga, and she's our volunteer and outreach coordinator, and Alyssa Burleson, who is from Fort Mill, just graduated from USC, and she is our development associate at Transitions. So we appreciate the invitation to join you all today.
Well, welcome all visitors. If you would, please fill out a visitor card and put it in the collection plate. There should be one on the back of the chair in front of you. That information will merely enable us to send you our newsletter and emails. Nobody's going to come a knocking on your door. So if you would like to do that, we would appreciate it. So let's take a moment now to greet each other. Please stand and greet those around you. Thank you.
Hey, man.
Great question. We were actually originally in the Olympia neighborhood. I think we've been here about 20 years.
Thanks, Joan. All righty, please be seated. Thank you.
I'm just sneaking this ahead of. See you, brother. Look at you.
Good to see you. Welcome back.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Smiling faces.
Hallelujah. How are you doing?
Good to see you, brother.
She's getting stronger every day, but she was hit by
Thank you, and please be seated.
Give her a big hug from us, would you?
Never good to sit down.
I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everyone. You may now be seated.
You guys are back.
Well, that was a well-done greeting. Thank you. Today's chalice lighters are Jane Lother and J.P. Flood. And they will come forward now. Thank you, J.P. and Jane. We're so glad to have you back with us again.
Glad to be back. And I want to let everybody know I'm also from Augusta, Montana. Sorry. The funny thing is, I was talking to somebody on the phone. She was selling us something. And she goes, wow, in a town of 300, you must know everybody. I said, know everybody? I know their dogs' names. And I said, yeah, we got Brutus, and we got Lily next door. And she said, are you serious? I said, yeah, I know all the dogs. Why wouldn't I, right?
We are fortunate, lucky ducks, to be able to spend spring, summer, and fall in Montana, and we're glad to be back in South Carolina for the winter, for obvious reasons. We would have been back sooner, but we both had dental work the first part of November, and so we stayed to get our mouths fixed. And I just know Stephen's going to do something with that line.
You can bet that. Go dogs, right?
Look at the twinkle in his eyes. Anyway, JP works on the Personnel Committee, and I work on the Caring Committee, and we love being a part of this group of folks. And we so appreciate each one of you
Thank you.
as friends and as fellows on our spiritual journey together.
Yeah, we've been UUs for 10 years, and we love everybody that we run into that are UUs, and we kind of live by the doctrine of, love is the answer to all the problems. So, love you guys.
Thank you so much. Spirit of light and life, come unto us.
Invite the adult choir to come forward. We'll be singing a song called Now Let Us Sing.
What? Is it doing it again?
I thought it was a waterfall. And pretend it's a waterfall. No, maybe not. Oh, thank you. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of hope within. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the love within. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the joy within.
Thank you, adult choir, and thank you, David, especially, and Anna for the beautiful prelude. It's always nice to hear a tuba in person as it reverberates in your soul. So thank you for sharing that. Today, our story for all ages, we'll just share from up here, and that is an introduction to our celebration today, which is Chalica. And actually, if there are kids that want to come down, I'd be glad to, if you would like to come down this morning, you can come down and we can share a little bit about Chalica. If you'd like to. We can do it from up here. All right, that is fine as well. So Chalica is a week-long celebration that begins tomorrow, and it's based on our Unitarian Universalist principles. It's the holiday that first started out of 2005, which was a wish for us to have a celebration as Unitarian Universalists alongside other holiday traditions during this season. For those of you that are wondering what is the origin of the word Chalica, it's made up. All right. So, I know I would get in trouble for that, right, Don, for making up words in the English language, but I didn't do it. So Chalica does invite reflection on our 7 principles, which you can find on the back of the program, and we're actually going to use that in our service as a time of reflection in a little bit. So for our opening words today, I would like to share some reflections on this time of year and this particular holiday celebration in Unitarian Universalist life with some opening words by Gwen Matthews, which are entitled, "You Are the Holiday Miracle." As December opens up before us, we welcome in the gift of reflection. We turn toward our holiday celebrations and search for common threads of meaning. We begin with Yule, the winter solstice, and we are invited to explore duality, cycles, and seasons, and to witness the Holly King being overcome by the Oak King. Yule reminds us that we all partake in the miracle of renewal. Hanukkah, which is the festival of lights, commemorates a time of miracles when the faith of the Jewish people sustained them to reclaim their holy temple and keep the light of the menorah burning for 8 days. Christmas, the celebration of a humble birth in a manger, offers us to revisit the miracle of birth and the desire to find saviors to heal the scars of humanity. But here at the UUCC, we are just as much a holiday miracle as the turning of the earth, as persistence and dedication to a faith, as the creation of each new life. We see the love that you give to each other and to others around us, the space that you create to hold each other's joys and sorrows in community, and the generosity in spirit you entrust to each other. You are the holiday miracle. The community is one of miracle makers. And in that spirit, we invite ourselves to a time of sharing our joys and concerns, something we do each week, offering a chance to light a candle, which there are always 7 in our foyer, to come and share a joy that you are experiencing and share it out loud with this community and allow us to celebrate with you, to share a concern that you are holding and allow us to come alongside you and strengthen yourself in community and strengthen your resolve. I invite you, if you have a candle, to come forward this morning, briefly share your joy or concern, and then light a candle.
Hi, I'm Elle. This is a candle of concern for the rail workers. Congress declaring a strike by them illegal continues a long history of our government and corporations disciplining workers to labor in abominable conditions and not protecting and respecting people who do vital work. So, solidarity forever.
Good morning, y'all. Charles, I'm Bethany's husband, and she's not here today. I always say that because she's always here most of the time, but she's been really busy this week. She saw her father, went down to see her father in Florida for his 80th birthday last week, but spent a long time with him, which was really good. But anyway, so she's a little drained from last night because they were here having a meeting for Moms Demand Action Against Gun Violence. So I'm kind of an advocate for that. I'm also saying that there's also going to be a meet and greet with that same group today over at Hunter Gatherers. I don't know if you guys know where that's at, over by Owens Field. So they're going to be having food there and everything. So this will be a good time for y'all to see what it's all about the gun violence that we have so much of here. So that's for a good cause. All right.
What time is that meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry, you said that. Between 3 and 5, y'all. 3 and 5.
This is a candle of joy, and this is for everyone.
Families Helping Families ended today. We have every single gift in. We'll be able. So 12 people are going to be very happy this Christmas because of all of you. Thank you.
Great job,
The joy is I don't have the pain that I was having so much. I finally started going to therapist. I was afraid at first. And the sad part about it, our rent jumped from $600 to $850 as of last Thursday. And we don't know income, but we'll keep it. Thanks.
Thank you.
And on behalf of many folks who have shared, I light a candle for Tootsie Holland, who is not doing well. And actually, Anna called me last night and asked if people could visit because she is on top of being sick, also pretty lonely. And so I can get you that address if you need it and are willing to make a visit to Tootsie. And then, of course, in this community, we also hold a space for the silent joys, the silent concerns that you bring. I invite you to take just a moment to remember everything that you've heard, take a few deep breaths, and focus on all that energy and love and the direction that you have experienced this morning. As we prepare for our offering this morning, it is my pleasure to ask Liz to come up, who's already introduced herself, and share a little bit about the great work of Transitions.
Thank you all again for inviting us today. After 2 years of COVID, it's really nice to actually be back talking with people in person and meeting them. I am with Transitions Homeless Center. We are a 260-bed facility that opened in 2011, so we are not the oldest homeless facility in the Midlands, but we are certainly the largest. In addition to 260 residents, we, on a daily basis, have anywhere from 70 to 90 non-resident clients who are welcome from 8:30 to 5 each day to take advantage of our services and support and get lunch with us. We are not a shelter in the traditional sense. There's no breathalyzer that you have to take in order to get a bed. You don't have to leave every morning and take all your stuff with you. There's no Bible or church attendance requirements while you're in residence. And we take people who are dealing and struggling with active mental health and substance abuse problems. And so when they get a bed with us, they can be with us for 3, 6 months, even 12 months or longer, because a lot of those issues take a long time to work through and learn how to manage or get over. And so our clients know that they, as long as they're willing to do the work, they've got a safe place to be 3 meals a day, and that's one thing that they don't have to worry about while they are in residence. So who are our clients? It's a wide group of people, kind of like this congregation. It's 18-year-olds and older, men and women, so not children and youth, but Some have aged out of the foster care system. One last year was a student at Benedict College, and when COVID closed the dorms, he became homeless and moved in with us and was able to continue doing his studies online using our computer lab. Sometimes it's people who had a job and become very, very ill and can't work, so they lose their income and then they can't pay their rent or their mortgage. It's people who are escaping abusive relationships. In some cases, it's people who have come out as LGBTQ and the family doesn't approve of that, and so they are kicked out of the home. So lots of different reasons why people come to us, but we are glad that they do. And we have customized programs and services because obviously the needs and the ultimate goals for people are different if they're 19 or 20 versus if they're 78 or 81. And we've had residents in that age range for sure, unfortunately. We also run the winter shelter for the city from November 1st through the end of March. Michelle is more than happy to talk to you about how signing up for that volunteer opportunity works, because it's a little different. But there are lots of ways to get involved with us. We serve 3 meals a day. We are open 365 days a year. So lots of opportunities to lend your talent, your time, and come help with our clients, because our ultimate objective for all of our clients, be they resident or non, is to get them out of homelessness and into permanent and stable housing. And for the vast majority, that means helping them find a job and develop the life and work skills that they need. And for some, it's helping them get disability benefits and so forth, so they've got an income to sustain themselves. But it's a wonderful place to work. It's a wonderful place to volunteer, and we will be around afterwards. We do have some little flyers that kind of give you a quick overview. We have some up front here. There's some also back in Fellowship Hall as well. So, but we will be here to answer any questions that you have afterwards. And thanks again.
Thank you, Liz, Michelle, and Alyssa for being here today. And no, it's our joy and privilege to partner with you in this good work and to take the month of December as a Share the Plate recipient. So you can, in addition to the volunteering that Michelle can tell you all about, we also allow opportunity to share the plate and donate either online or do that with an offering envelope throughout the month of December. This time I invite our ushers to come and receive our morning offering.
Our offertory music selection is Canción by Manuel de Falla.
receive our offering this morning, a symbol of our commitment to the good work. So now we prepare for a celebration of Chalica, and I know what you're thinking. One more thing that we've got to think about through the month of December, right? To add to our plate of things to celebrate, things to keep up with. And of course, Chalica involves gifts to the minister, so make sure to, and the staff, so make sure to add that to your list. I figure like if you already think I'm making this up, then I can just keep making up things as we go. So, but we can certainly provide links. You can see since 2005, this has really been a chance for us as Unitarian Universalists to think about ways that we have something to celebrate that's uniquely our own, being a faith tradition that really is an acceptance of all paths, of all ways of seeking out truth and finding truth in your own way. It's nice to kind of center in on a ritual. It begins tomorrow, Monday, and goes for 7 days, focused on historically our 7 principles. And so we'll talk a little bit about that and actually end our time this morning with a reflection on our 7 principles from the back of our program. Of course, due to winter's extended time of bleakness and cold, and sometimes people from Montana bringing cold to us. And of course, the historical issues around growing food during wintertime. For all of the darkness, the lack of light, the coldness, the lack of food and growth has become to represent a metaphor of a struggle, a darkness, a famine, and really across all cultures, humanity created and looked for stories of hope during these cold months. Winter became a time of year when many religions celebrated the birth stories of their deities, hoping that in this time of year, this celebration of the birth of the deity would be a reminder of love and new beginnings. So at this point, I was wondering how many December birthdays do we have in the UUCC? Do we have any? All right, a few. It's always good to recognize your potential deities that are out there. So that's always a good thing. One of the most popular metaphors of the season is to help in a time of darkness to be able to use some symbol or image or experience of light. From Advent, as we celebrated last week, to the menorah, there is a something about light that fills us with hope. For other traditions, hope comes through the birth of the deities that we have present here, or from Horus to Jesus, the symbols of birth give humanity a sense of hope through the teaching that they are not alone in this darkness. Some find hope through the symbols provided in nature. During the solstice, the sun is observed as it stands still on the horizon, giving us the longest period of day of the year. Today, in our congregation, the flaming chalice is the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee and the Unitarian Universalist Association. Perhaps most importantly for us, it has become the focal point of our services, not only our worship services on Sunday, but any committee gathering, board meeting that we have centers itself and begins its official work around the lighting of this symbol of our chalice. The chalice, like our faith, stands open to receive new truths that pass the test of reason, justice, and compassion. So one of those new experiences, and I don't believe, at least in my time here, that we've ever mentioned or celebrated Chalica, but Chalica uses this common symbol through a ritualized celebration of our principles. It was created in 2005 by Daleen Marshall, who wanted a ritual to practice during this holiday season. Like any other holiday, Chalica is made up to meet a need. Yes, I said like any other holiday, believe it or not, as powerful as they may feel. They're all made up to meet a need in a way that maybe only rituals can. Why do we need rituals? Why is that important to us? a ceremony or an action performed in a prescribed way. If you really think about it, we live through rituals all the time as human beings. The way that we say hello, the way that we say goodbye. I'm guilty of that just this morning, the ritual. Someone said, hello, how are you? Or no, someone said, hello, and I said, didn't say anything else, and I said, I'm fine, how are you? Annette can attest to this, right? She looked just as confused as anyone. Is he really listening to me? We have these rituals that we always are using, often. And by the way, when someone says, how are you? It doesn't matter how you're doing. What are you supposed to say? Fine. In the South, fine. I love, walking around and working in a healthcare system as well as my second job. That is a very testy question to walk around a hospital and say, how are you? Unless you really want an answer to that question, an honest answer. But we have these rituals, the way that we drive to work, the way that we make our coffee, and if someone makes it differently than the way we make our coffee, the way we settle in and go to sleep. So many of these rituals are almost unconscious because we do them over and over again, and they create a sense of safety for us. Some of the rituals we are aware of, even if we haven't attached any deep meaning to them. When it comes to spirituality, rituals are often done with more intention. One of my favorite writers about ritual and mythology is Joseph Campbell, and he describes a ritual as an enactment of a myth. And by participating in the ritual, you are participating in the myth. So religions across the globe have rituals for people to act out the stories and the importance of their faith. In some ways, as I said, it's just harder for us as you use to identify because we value so many different paths that led us here. We don't really share a particular deity or even a belief that there is a deity to ingest as most religions do. And we don't all share a specific birth celebration to revere at this time of year. And I think that's what makes us great. It also can create a lot of anxiety for us. I remember the first time I heard Joseph Campbell describe himself as a dabbler. And I don't know if you know Joseph Campbell, but he is probably was in his life the greatest wealth of knowledge across spiritualities and religions and mythologies. And offhand, as in a wonderful interview by Bill Moyer, you can see every question just led to different ideas of spirituality and myth. And so I think he knows everything about every religion and every spirituality. And he said, because of that, I'm a dabbler in all of these. And because I'm a dabbler, I will never be completely secure as someone who is so attached to a faith and a ritual and a mythology. For the first time in my life, being a dabbler all of my life, much to the chagrin of my parents, the first time in my life I felt seen and known. Someone to say, you're a dabbler. He gave me a word for my spirituality, for one, but also gave me a sense of normalcy, that the sense of anxiety is not going to go away. That this sense of walking on solid ground is something I'm willing to give up to be able to be a dabbler. In my Christian tradition growing up, we would sing a song, on Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. I think I've lived my life in sinking sand. Or wading water and wondering what other truth is out there. And so while I love that about my spirituality and our faith as you use, I also love having rituals that ground me and give me a sense of balance in my life. Intentional rituals are one of the most powerful practices we do as human beings. I see it in patient care all the time in the hospital, how families and friends gather at a time of death, or the way they gather to celebrate a birth. Actions performed in a prescribed way that almost possess this kind of magic about them and remind us in those times of deep emotion that we are not alone, that we have to acknowledge our humanity And we also begin to consider other people's humanity as well. All of this can come from a recited prayer, familiar song, a sprinkling of water, and the list of rituals go on and on and on. I heard a story once of a professor who entered his classroom and asked his students to prepare for a surprise test. They waited anxiously at their desk for the test to begin, and the professor walked around the class and handed out a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper with a small dot in the middle of the paper. Once he handed them all out, he asked them to look at the page and begin. To everyone's surprise, there were no questions on the page, just this one black dot in the center of the page. And as they looked bewildered for a few moments, the professor finally said, "I want you to write down what you see on the paper." And so they started doing that. And at the end of class, the professor asked for all of their answers, and they began to read them out loud. All of them, with no exception, described the black dot, the small black dot in the center. Some would describe the shape, whether it was oval or perfectly round. Some of them would describe the size and how the size was in relation to other things, the position on the paper. And after all of those answers had been read, he said, "I'm not going to grade you on the test," which is probably the most relieving words of all, but recognize this was an opportunity to learn how to reflect and to think about that every reflection focused on the small dot in the middle and how that happens sometimes in our lives as well. For you and me, we have a relatively clear piece of paper in our lives that we hold on to, but we can become so focused on the small dots that are holding us back, that present the miss, a miss for us of the beauty and the changing and the renewing of each day. Too often we allow, as this professor said, the dark dots in our lives to pollute our minds. This sense of uncertainty can make us feel like we are losing our way when we become overwhelmed and we only see the challenging moments in our lives. Rituals help us find balance again. It's the thing that we've done again and again, over and over, and there is peace and there's meaning in that practice. When our lives feel unsteady, rituals have a way of anchoring us. And I think it's my hope as we kind of focus on Chalica for maybe the first time in our congregation, that it can become a holiday ritual not only for our congregation, but for our families through this week and our individual selves. A holiday ritual that grounds us and grounds us within our principles. So often the criticism I hear of the UCC or Unitarian Universalism as a whole is you don't believe anything, and it's just not true. We believe fervently, and we have very much values and beliefs and strengths and spirituality that ground us. We just can't ever agree on what they are. But they're there. We are grounded in our faith, in our openness, in our love, in our justice, in our connectedness. We are absolutely grounded. And so what a great opportunity to ground ourselves in the midst of all these other rituals that happen in December with our own ritual. The creator of Chalica, Darlene Marshall, has a word of advice for families who might stress about adding another ritual and event to December. She said, don't make Chalica into another holiday obligation. People don't have to do hard things for it. They can send a card or stand up for someone on the playground or share a meal with someone who is lonely. She says, I've let Chalica take a life of its own. It can either be a serious spiritual exercise or just a fun thing to do. All holidays evolve through the people who celebrate them. And I don't want too much ownership. I just want to put the idea out there, and I'm happy to let it become what it will. And so we have a chance to celebrate with these principles that we can cherish and debate, with this light of our chalice that holds us and holds for us 1,000 different meanings and consistently gives us something to return to every Sunday. We all know that the language of these 7 principles is currently being debated and revised, and I hope that as an organized religion, we'll find our way with that. Today, I just invite us to take a pause from that debate. Is that all right? Just a pause for a few moments and not focus so much on the words, but the heart and the soul of these beautiful words that came together, to appreciate the bold statements of definition and purpose that ground us during the winter season, because that grounding, even if it evolves, and I believe it will evolve, but even if it evolves, it is still connected deeply to our history. So I invite you to consider your own interpretations of these principles, and I hope you too find reason, justice, and compassion within these words. I want to just take a pause for just a second and invite you to a spiritual exercise. And I know I don't know where all the denominations committee meeting or committee that's out there, like, man, he's not really bringing up the principles, is he? Yes, I am. But not so much for the debate and the future and what the denomination is dealing with, but for our own spiritual grounding and our own ritual, and maybe invite you to do this week. But listen to the words. Take a few deep breaths as I read them and ask yourself, how does this resonate with me? How does this inspire me? What bubbles up in you as you hear it? What thoughts, what feelings? Where's your hope? And where's your action? What in these principles stir you today that move you to do something out of the work of these principles? And if this ritual is meaningful for you today, then use it in the week ahead. Personally, as a family, light a chalice, read aloud one of the principles each day, reflect on it, appreciate it, and act on it. So hear the words in closing of our 7 principles. The inherent worth and dignity of every person. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relationships. Acceptance of one another and encouragement of spiritual growth in our congregations. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and society at large. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we are a part.
Our closing hymn is number 362, Rise Up, O Flame. I invite the adult choir back forward to help in leading this closing hymn that we'll sing in a round. As you find the hymn in your gray hymnal, please stand as you're willing and able. Number 362. We're going to begin this morning by singing this 3 times through in unison to get familiar with the words and the melody. I'll play it once through and invite you to join me singing in unison 3 times. invite you to look at the chalice in the center of our sanctuary. If you are over on the flame side of that chalice, you are going to be part 1, and that half of the choir will help lead you. Part 1, raise your hand, choir. If you are over on the piano side of the chalice, you're going to be part 2. You are going to follow these singers in front of your section where you see the 2 in the music. So we're starting with part 1. Everybody on this side, wait to enter.
Rise up, O flame, rise up, O flame, show to us beauty, show to us beauty. Rise up, O flame, rise up, O flame, show to us beauty, show to us beauty. Give yourselves a hand and remain standing for our closing words, entitled It Becomes More, from Amy Zucker Morgenstern. When we take fire from our chalice, it does not become less, it becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice today, but we take its light and its warmth with us, multiplying their power by all of our lives and sharing it with our world around us.
I invite you to join in singing our congregational benediction. The words are in your order of service.
Thank you for being a part of this. And just a reminder, you don't have to have a chalice like this at home. A chalice can be any flame that you light. And if you're kind of afraid of lighting a candle at home, you can do it with electric lights. We can even help you out with that. We have some of those in the back. I'd like to say a special thanks to Annie, Jackie, April, and Dahlia, and of course, Liz, Michelle, and Alyssa for being a part of our service today as guests. We hope that you give us an opportunity to get to know you and for you to get to know us as well, because we do believe if that happens, then you'll just keep coming back. So, all right. Thank you for being a part of this service today. Enjoy your December afternoon.